The first one says Vice President Harris was never appointed border czar. There's never been such a position. It doesn't exist. Why are Democrats so sensitive about the vice president and the border?
Why are Republicans so sensitive about actually not owning up to them getting in the way of a border deal? Why? Why won't they own up to that? Why won't they own up to the last president told them not to move forward? It was a bipartisan deal just right there, available to them, and they voted twice against it.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and have you ever seen a smartass get schooled so hard that they forget what year it is? Well, buckle up, because today we've got Peter Doocy getting hit with a truth 2x4 by White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, and folks, it's a thing of beauty.
Republicans continue to block getting resources to the Border Patrol agents. They continue to block actually dealing with an immigration system. So yes, we are going to debunk the false characterization of the vice president. She was not a border czar, and it's not just us. Independent fact checkers have said the same thing, that did not exist, and that is not true.
Why are Democrats so sensitive about the vice president and the border, Doocy asked. But Karine Jean-Pierre flipped the script. Why are Republicans so sensitive about not owning up to them getting in the way of the border bill? She hit them with the ultimate Uno reverse card. Did you catch that? Doocy thought that he was going to land a knockout punch, but Jean-Pierre turned the tables and served him a cold dish of reality. The Republicans, and specifically Trump, are the reason the border wasn't solved sooner.
Donald Trump is actively working to dismantle the deal. He says Republicans should not concede to a victory to President Joe Biden.
Senate negotiators have been inching closer to a border security deal after months of work here, but it could all unravel with former President Trump urging Republicans not to do a deal, prompting talk about blocking an agreement so that voters can blame President Biden for its failure and credit Mr. Trump with getting a deal if he wins the election.
Do you think that the border would be less of a talking point now if there was less migration to the border, say if somebody had addressed root causes of migration sooner?
Wait, hold on a second. Did you not hear the beginning of I know there were a lot of toppers, but one of the toppers, I talked about what we're seeing at the border. It's down by 55%, not because of Republicans in Congress and what they did. It's because of what this president and this vice president did. He moved forward and took actions to deal with what's going on at the border.
It's like Doocy walked into the ring thinking he was Hulk Hogan and got body slammed by the Ultimate Warrior. Doocy was left standing there with the dumbest look on his face, like a kid who just got caught stealing some cookies. He thought that he was going to pull a fast one, but Jean-Pierre shut him down so hard, it's like all he could do was act like a spoiled kid and mock the laughter of everyone who watched it unfold. Folks, the tide is turning. We're witnessing a shift where dirtbags like Peter Doocy are finally getting the karma that they deserve. Karine Jean-Pierre smacked him with the truth 2x4, and it was probably the best thing we've seen on social media in quite some time.
When you have the Speaker of the House, obviously he's a Republican, and this is something that you all have reported, set up a meeting to tell Republican leaders to stop being racist, to stop being misogynist, to stop being sexist. I think that says a lot, that they have to be told to not do that. But more broadly, I think it's desperate. I think it's disgusting, and I think it's a dog whistle. And we should not forget that she is the Vice President of the United States. She's the Vice President of the United States. She should get that respect.
The message is clear. If you're going to come with weak arguments and smug attitudes, be prepared to get checked. But Peter Doocy didn't learn from touching the hot stove the first time, so he went back for more. Can you believe that? It's like he's an annoying salesman trying to overcome your valid objections with nonsense. Doocy asked questions so Fox News can use it as a headline and then cherry pick her answer to either make it seem like she didn't answer it or use just a small portion to make it seem that was what she said, when really it's all out of context. If you think about it, they haven't accepted the fact that they lost the 2020 election, so it makes sense that MAGA hasn't accepted the fact that border crossings are down. Then Karine Jean-Pierre followed up with an uppercut that tagged Doocy once again. One might ask, is he a glutton for punishment? Does he thrive on rejection and humiliation? Or is he indeed asking questions so his puppet masters at Fox can edit his so-called reporting into out-of-context hit pieces that are highly charged with alternative narratives and cherry-picked sound bites intended to spread misinformation for the benefit of Donald Trump? Peter Doocy got shut down quicker than a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest, and it was absolutely epic. I think I probably replayed that stupid look on his face a few times and laughed each time. It was satisfying to watch Jean-Pierre embarrassed at sniveling excuse for a journalist. Now let's break down Jean-Pierre's talking points.
Anything, if you look at his foreign policy objectives and what he's been able to do and what the last administration did, the last administration ruined our relationships with our partners and allies. This president had to fix that and make sure that we actually mended our relationship with our partners and allies. And that's what we've been able to do. And a perfect example is what we're seeing with Ukraine being able to defend itself against Russia's aggression. Okay.
She stated that Trump's time in office damaged our relationship with other countries. Biden had to come in and repair this damage. From leaving important international agreements to initiating trade wars, Trump's approach was a dangerous knee-jerk reaction. For instance, Trump pulled the U.S. out of the Paris Climate Agreement. Trump frequently criticized NATO and threatened to reduce U.S. support, making our allies nervous. In simple terms, Trump's foreign policy was like a bull in a china shop. Karine Jean-Pierre put it bluntly. The last administration ruined our relationship with our partners and our allies. This president had to fix that. Trump didn't just hint at reckless behavior. He openly encouraged Russia to attack our allies if they didn't pay for protection. That's straight out of a mobster's playbook. It's called a shakedown. Trump acted like a gangster. Where was the outrage then? Americans might not realize how embarrassing it was for our allies to see Donald Trump representing the United States on the world stage. It was like watching another comedy reality show. Nobody respected Trump. Putin certainly didn't. Karine Jean-Pierre is absolutely right. Trump was a disaster for America's reputation, except maybe in Russia. And let's not forget Doocy, the bootlicker, who sold his soul for a spot on television. It's almost laughable how he parrots whatever nonsense he's fed, all for his few minutes of fame. He's more interested in being a sycophant than in any real journalism. Embarrassing to say the least. Poor Peter picked the wrong person to pick on. And yes, Peter, we're all laughing at you. And that is an absolute fact. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.